Hello, hello. Glad I get the right stream. For a moment there we had the wrong episode. Yes, life is messy and it happens. Pleasure seeing everybody here. And apologize for the quick later start time. It's been as all of you know, it's been pretty challenging, good, bad, and indifferent lately. So trying to get back on track with everything, and sometimes it's really difficult to get on track. Welcome. I'll just give some shout outs here. We got Michael, we got Savannah, we got Ariel, we got Tina Lynn. Welcome. And thank you guys for coming here to another episode 82 of Integrative Moonshadow. And I really appreciate you guys being here. It's something where, I get surprised every single week. I get surprised, and don't mind like the redness on my nose. I got some sun. I got some good sun yesterday. Some vitamin D. So yeah, so that was kind of that's good. It's good to get vitamin D. But yes, so I am working very diligently on making this better and better weekly, the best I can, as well as hoping that the next level, the 2.0, if you will, or is it 2.0, is it 3.0? I don't know anymore. There's been constant involvement here with the show, so, and I've gotten a lot of feedback from all of you. I really appreciate all the feedback and the support. And I don't know about sunburn. It's just a little extra red, which is okay. Nothing wrong with that. So no sunburn. Sometimes I end up with redness and then it goes straight to brown. Or sometimes it just goes straight to, I look Jamaican. So it depends. It all depends. Now, how's the audio and video? Is that looking okay? Testing 1 2. Hello. This is the good and not so good part of it being a very small outfit here on a show. It's like, pre-testing everything. Hey Pat, how you doing? Welcome. So yes, that's the downside to that, where when it's a very small, when it's a very small shoestring budget, meaning big fat donut. It's you have to be creative. So that's a big part of it. Well, I could be doing better, but I could be doing worse, all at the same time. So, so thank you for asking, Pat. One thing I can say over what Michael is saying, also quality over quantity. Now, I see a lot of people putting out some really good stuff, really good content. May not be the exact same as mine, which I'm a little more of an oddball in the grand scheme of my take on it is a little different. But looking and learning from all these great live streamers and broadcasters, there's so much to learn and there's so much to share. So to all my other, big live streamers, YouTubers, everyone from way back where with the B days, with the B Lab days way back, you guys rock. and I learned a lot from everyone. And evolving is definitely a thing. So at this point, we want to move and evolve to something bigger and better, a better show. Of course, I would like it to be more attractive and prettier. And no, you have no choice. You're stuck with me. I can't switch the host. Sorry, not sorry. But you never know. I could fill in. You know, I can fill in. Have a host come in and do the show in my absence or something. It'd be unique, maybe. I don't know. That'd be a twist, wouldn't it? Welcome back, Dina. So, yeah, it'd be like, you know, there's a lot like these other shows that you see, you know, like such and such with so and so, and then it's like, hi, I'm so and so filling for so and so. I don't know. It's just silliness. But yeah, looking. Yeah, well, what I'm hoping for is there's a lot of new topics coming up, and yeah, right. So, well, the one thing, as I can honestly say, that I am by default immortal because I can't afford to get sick, and I can't afford to die. So by default, I'm immortal. And I don't think either side wants me, upper or lower. I don't think either one wants me, because I'd probably cause trouble in both. That's probably closer to the truth than not. but yeah, but over quality and quantity and quality, I think that it is it's something I really try to put out the best I can. I do the best I can to engage, and not only to engage and help you evolve, I evolve myself with you, and also to entertain as well. So, you know, it could be a little bit of a lesson, it could be a little bit of a workshop, it could be, you know, all kinds of things, you know, and it could be a show, it could be entertainment, it could be goofiness, it could be silliness, it could be complete anarchy. So yeah. And yes, I am on top of my health. So thank you very much for saying that. And of course, all good juju is accepted and appreciated. Yes, as my trusty producer saying, "Moon in heaven caused a ruckus among the angels. Moon in hell caused a ruckus with the demons." Yeah, that'd probably be the case. Again, I have to say sorry, not sorry, because someone's got to keep air pumping in there somewhere. I don't know. But yeah, so there's a lot of new things coming up, as I've mentioned before, and coming up soon, later this month, in a couple of weeks, I'll be going into the West Coast. So we'll be able to do some topics that we've wanted to do, but not wanted to do it from home base pretty much, and to do it from a different location. They were more location-centric places. So, yes, as my trusted producer Ariella is saying, one more show till Reno. So, this will still be home base. However, it'll be good to connect over onto the West Coast and do another West Coast show 2.0, but do it differently, because I've actually learned from the messiness of before. I didn't live stream enough. I didn't film enough. There were things I missed out. So there's been a lot of intense planning and focusing on what would make this better for all of you. So that's really, really important. And I think that ultimately, this is not just mine, honestly. I cannot, no different than the natives took ownership of the earth and of their land. I cannot take full ownership of the show, because part of this is all of you in helping and supporting and being there. there are many people that have supported in one way, whether they shared or posted or anything like that. They show up every week. And as well, there are other people that are near and dear to me that have actually, you know, given and donated, you know, equipment and things to continue my creative endeavors, which also means a ton to me. As all of you know, connection to me is so important. And I'm in a place where it's really interesting how connections become stronger and stronger and more important. So it makes you highly responsible for everything, and it's very challenging, and it's very intimidating all at the same time, because it makes you more mindful of each connection, every single connection. It makes you responsible and thoughtful on. So I can honestly say I appreciate anyone that I've connected with and love dearly, and I think that's just, it's a humbling and very touching experience. So thank you for sending all the juju and any aspect of any kind of support all of you have done. I really super appreciate it, and I mean that from the bottom of my heart. We've also gotten more subbies, so I think we're up to 114. Yay! I know that's like a drop in the bucket in YouTube land, but we're making it, we're doing it, we're moving forward, and we're getting up there. And granted, I can tell you why it's not happening as quick. You know, there are certain trending topics. I don't really go with necessarily all trending topics, and as well as you know. So, and I'm not doing shows that are shorter and more bite-sized. They're not sushi-sized shows either. So that also is difficult. And also, if I can ask my trusty producer, Ariel, to be able to put up the survey for merch. If you can put that up, that would be fantastic as well. Anyone that hasn't clicked on that, please do. Check it out. We would definitely appreciate your input on merchandise, because that's also something that it's in the hopper right now to think of what we're doing. And that I want to thank all those branders, all those top branders out there, marketers in the digital landscape, because I'll tell you, if it's about branding, that's what you got to learn. You're going to learn all of that, right? Oh, thank you for sharing that. So that's also part of it. So it's really also about just getting out there and more exposure, and it's not just about, you know, wanting 1 million subbies, because it would be great. It'd be great to have 1 million subbies, but it just means that they're putting it's out there more, and more people are seeing it. More people can share it. More people can share their story. More people can come in, and people can come in and do what they want to do. Because again, this is a no criticism, no judgment zone, and I appreciate all of you for being here. So, so I will say this, is that life is a very funny thing. It's a very unique thing, and how things happen and elapse are very interesting. So I can honestly say the universe is continuously keeping me on my toes and making me responsible and mindful of and thoughtful of everything, pretty much. Yes. Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Tina Lynn. And so now this brings about today's topic. I've actually had, I was talking about this topic with a couple of people recently, and then it was even more manifested yesterday. So as you know, when things happen in threes, they become more profound and more prominent. So that being said, it's something where I knew that it was a topic that was needed, and also too, it's I can honestly say it's probably a topic that's more on the popular side. I would say, because why? Because people just would enjoy the topic, and it's also something that's near and dear to my heart as well. So people are like, "What is it?" In the marketing world, that's called a teaser. Ugh, yeah, I'm totally not about that stuff, but ultimately, it's a topic that's has always been near and dear to my heart. But again, every week, especially lately, it's been whatever has really been profoundly comes to my mind and comes to my heart to say, okay, this is the topic for this week. So that's pretty much the deal. You know, there's a list of show topics. And also, thank you for anyone that has there's a list of show topics, of course, and there's things that just need to be done in a certain way. So I have to be moved to use it to bring the topic up. And the funny part is, there are times that not even Team Insight knows, or Team Moonshadow, or Team Insight with Moonshadow. I don't know. We're still working on a working title, but there are times that they don't even know, and they don't know today. So, only kidding. So yes. So also too, I thank everyone for your support and your ideas. You know, some people have brought up some ideas in the past to say, I would really like to learn about this. And it's interesting how it's not just a show, not just a broadcast, not just a lesson, not just a class, not just a conversation, not just sharing stories. This is something that I never thought that would be this. I never thought it would evolve to this point. So this is why I have to say, even I am surprised on a very regular basis on how this has its own life. And I'm just kind of the bus driver. So yeah. So in a few minutes, we're going to start the show. And sorry for all that banter, I know. But at least you can say you're in the know. You can say that you are in the know of what's going on, what's happening, and as transparent and as transparent / private as I am. Crazy. It's a weird conundrum. I appreciate all you being here, being part of my journey as well. So, okay. So I'm being reminded, you never said what the topic was. And that wasn't a voice in my head. It was a voice in my head, but not a voice in my head. Don't try to figure it out. It's a wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey, wibbly-wobbly thing that you won't understand anyway. I would not wish anybody to sit in my subconscious ever. I don't even think for a second. It would be quite an adventure. Probably part Alice in Wonderland, part Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka's Pee-wee's Big Adventure, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, and I don't know. It'd be pretty nuts. So yes. So we're going to start the show. And oh, by the way, should I tell you what the show's about now? Or should I tease it a little longer and start the show first? What do you think? I think I'll start the show and let you know. just to keep my just to keep my team on their toes. And I say team. It could be more, it could be less. There's always someone around, which is great. And also too, I have to give big props to present producer Ariel for helping so much, because she's a big help in this show. So, all right. So I'll get this party started. It's 4:57 here on 8/7/2017, and this is episode 82 of Inside with Moonshadow. So let's get this conversation, party, etc. started. Welcome to Inside with Moonshadow. I am Moonshadow, an integrative holistic therapist, intuitive shaman, interfaith minister, and CHI-vangelist. We've got over 30 years of experience doing this crazy healing thing that I do, and I have done it pretty much everywhere, being a global citizen. So my intention here is to guide and empower you so you can become better and stronger and be a better person, be a stronger person, be a more amazing person, so you and I can be part of the change in the world, and we could literally cast away a lot of the shadow, a lot of the things that aren't working, a lot of the darkness that's happening in the world. We become the voice, the light, the movement. So before I go into the topic, I just want to say one thing on that note, because I'm feeling strongly to give you a little moonsight right off the bat. If you are moved, if you are called, if you are guided to do something, and I know many people that are really trying to do wonderful things in different avenues, in different arenas, I applaud you for challenging yourself to continue getting out of your comfort zone. And I know quite a few people that are doing things that they normally wouldn't do. So I want to say thank you for being another voice. Thank you for being another light. And thank you for putting yourself out there, even though ultimately we can take the easier road. Some of us don't do that. Some of us take the hard road all the way around. I'm not sure what my road is. I'm still not sure what my road is, but I continue to focus and one step at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 breath at a time, 1 heartbeat at a time. So I thank you for being part of my journey at whatever capacity you are, and I love you guys. You guys are awesome. So now, the topic. I know, I waited too long. No, but so the topic today. Now, this is something that I've been speaking about this. Actually, it's been, I think, 3 or 4 conversations over the last month, and also it was brought back around again yesterday in conversation. Now, there are many people, and especially in the realm of Inside with Moonshadow family, within the show itself, as well as all of you. There's an extra heartbeat. I know many of you that this touches many of you. Now, this topic is. Now I'm just teasing and having too much fun, so I apologize. Not really, but sometimes a little teasing is good, as long as you don't tease too long. Because if you don't want to tease too long, because that's bad. You definitely want to reward. You don't want to be teasing too long. So, but as far as the topic is, it's about rescues. It's about rescuing. Now, such a weird topic, right? No, but this is about rescuing. It's not about rescuing just a particular pet or animal. It's about rescues. It's about the difference between buying a pet in a store and buying and actually going to an adoption agency or going to a you know, going to an actual dog pound or ASPCA or, you know, a facility where it has animals there wanting homes. So I know all that hype for nothing. I don't know, but I think that it's still a topic that is near and dear to my heart. So looking at that from that perspective, for today, I would definitely like to touch base on the importance and the differences between, you know, buying or adopting, you know, buying or choosing a purebred to a hybrid or a purebred to a mixed breed. And it could be different animals. You could looking at dogs, cats, you know, ferrets, you name it. So if any of you have seen my social media, they tend to be a lot of animals in it. And I didn't realize till today, going through my social media, that there is a ton of animal posts. So, you know, I must be pretty transparent with where my heart goes, and with animals, it's so important. So there are a lot of people, and also too, you see a lot of people that adopt like three-legged dogs, special need animals. There's at one point in time I missed out, but there was a really awesome special needs ferret many years ago that I wanted to adopt that I didn't get the chance to, but it did go to a good home. But it's really all about the pros and cons, or the benefits or the advantages and disadvantages of rescues. Now, I know a ton of people that have rescued and adopted animals, and so that is like really awesome. And quite a few people are here in the show as well as in my social media, and they themselves will post pictures of their animals as well. I myself, the family pet is also a rescue, and he came from, I believe it was down south. But he is unruly, and he is just out of control sometimes. But I'll tell you, I wouldn't change it for a minute. Now, Michael is also saying here, you could also be a foster family for animals before they're ready to be adopted. It's very true. So there was a documentary that I had seen, I believe it was on Animal Planet, and it was about a family that adopted. They had one blind cat. Now, granted, a lot of times people would euthanize or put down an animal just because it has one leg less, you know, 3 legs, or it has one eye missing, or something like that. Now, I will say, I can understand if the animal is so, if this animal is so much in pain and it needs to pass. That's one thing. And being someone that I have only put one animal down and had no choice, because they would have survived anyway. It would have been a long, grueling, suffering passing. But I'm not a big fan of euthanization. I'm not. It's something where it's like last case scenario type thing. Also, there's another show that's out there, and granted, I am not getting any kind of compensation for any one that I'm mentioning, so I want to say that up front. Why I'm mentioning. If I mention everyone, that's why I mention them. Now, also, there's pit bulls and parolees. Now, there's a lot of miscommunication and misinformation about pit bulls as well. A little fun fact that I learned yesterday was the fact that even Helen Keller had a pit bull as a pet. Now, she couldn't see, she couldn't hear. She had a lot of challenges in her life, and she actually had a pit bull as a pet. And if you've read anything about Helen Keller, you know that she's a prominent, profound, incredible, serious, major force in history. She did a lot, and she was pretty damn amazing. Now, here's a little fun fact. Now, each year, 2.7 million adoptable dogs and cats are euthanized in the United States, simply because there are too many of them. Now, you're looking at just unnecessary death. Some of them, and to be fair, some of them are completely healthy. They just happen to be a lot of them. And not enough people are pet people or cat people or dog people or guinea pig people or whatever to actually bring them and take them home. So that, you know, that's important. Now, the number of euthanized animals could be dramatically decreased if people adopted instead of bought them. And also too, it's the fact of, let's face it, we all have a history. We all came from somewhere. We weren't born out of a petri dish, so we have something. We have history. We have things that have happened to us along the way. This is what made us the way who we are. So how can we quickly judge an animal because it's in a pound, as opposed to in a pet store? And we have someone new coming in. Pamela, hello, welcome. Now in the situation, a lot of pets wind up there because of either irresponsibility, I will say, first of all. If they didn't know the pet was going to be as it was, the size, what it was going to do, they just liked it because it was cute. And I also include exotic pets as well. So one little moonsight for all of you here and anyone in the replay that see this is really be thoughtful and mindful and really research. If you are looking at wanting to get any kind of animal in your life, make sure you really truly research the breed, their characteristics, their wants, what they need, their basic needs, their health, what possible problematic health issues that they may have down the road. All of those things are super, incredibly, profoundly important. So that's something where you need to kind of take a look at. A lot of people don't do that. I remember reading about someone, and I actually know someone, and I read countless stories about this, is that people, at one point in time, there's a movement with little dwarf pigs. And a lot of these little quote-unquote dwarf pigs were not dwarfs at all. They grew up to be big old, serious, big old porkers. And then, of course, you need to have a husbandry license or a farming license and permit to have a pig. So you can't be like in the middle of, you know, say New York, you know, Providence, Boston, and have a pet pig. There are laws that you have to follow. So this is also part of that situation. Also, too, in regards to the aggressive breeds like pit bulls, Rottweilers, German Shepherds, and the like. Just because they're bigger, they really shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be put in this category, because not every dog, not every big dog is aggressive. No different than not every person is a douche nozzle. Not everybody. You can't single out every single body, every single person to do that. So that's part of it. Now, also too, a lot of times broken homes. It's a pet of a child, and then they have to move, or you moving into a different location, and they don't allow pets, or it could be a broken home, or it could be divorce. A lot of these things will be part of the reason why a lot of animals end up in shelters. Also, there are a lot of shelters that are kill shelters, and there are more and more no-kill shelters that they don't they will find, Beth, we have whales in the house. Great seeing you. But there is a lot of people, a lot of shelters that have become no-kill shelters, which means no euthanization. They will keep an animal there forever, and it will become an ambassador or a mascot to the place, and even people that work there will adopt them themselves. So this is all really, really important. You know, a lot of people don't realize how that works. But also, too, when you buy a pet, and I say pet, you know, to me, pet child, pet parent, I believe in the term pet parent, because just because they're four-legged, two-legged, winged, scaly, finned, it doesn't matter. They deserve love. They deserve attention. They deserve your care, and they depend on you. So regardless if you have to give them a college education or not, they're still important, and they're still. I probably can honestly say I've cried more for when animals died than family, and I don't mean that in an insensitive way. You can almost justify why a family member dies, and you mourn and you grieve. But there's this loyalty and there's this connection that we have. You know. Now there's a question in the chat. Now Pamela's saying, why do people think it's okay to euthanize a healthy pet? There's just too many of them. And as much as I'm on the fence with the spaying and neutering thing, because I do believe in organic and not manipulating things too much, but there's also a need, because if you're going to have an outdoor pet, if it's going to be an outdoor pet, you are putting in more animals, because they will procreate. They will have more babies. They will have more kittens. They will have more puppies. And this is what is contributing to the millions upon millions of millions of animals that are out in the street, strays, and they're feral. I'm a feral one myself, or part feral, anyway. But so now, say for example, if you buy a dog from the pet store, online or flea market, you're almost certain you're buying that dog or cat from a puppy mill or a kitty mill. And a lot of times, and I know this from fact. Now this is no joke. This is absolute freaking fact. I had ferrets, and I had ferrets from a particular breeder, and one of my ferrets were not weaned properly, and they were unfortunately, they're sold at a younger age than they should be, because everyone likes all the animals cute and little and young. But then what they do is they don't wean them, they don't socialize them properly. Now I'm talking about ferrets, but also there are other animals that are very, very social. But if they don't socialize that animal, that's when you have problems. If you wean the animal if you pull this animal from its mother or from its parents too soon, you're going to cause damage. Just think about this for a second. If you are pulled from your parents too early, there's going to be some kind of consequence to that. And also, too, as Michael is saying, if you need to have a pure breed, find a hobby breeder. Now, also, another big part of this is for you to truly vet and investigate the breeder. Look at them, find out if they have any if they've had any trouble, any kind of trouble or anything like that. Because if you don't look at that, you are buying a line. You're buying a lineage. So if you go ahead and, so a lot of times with papers, I've known quite a few people that bought, animals with papers. I have no problem with that. It's okay to do that. Of course, there's no judgment there. But still, even then, you have to make sure that those papers are legit. You need to make sure that this animal is free of health issues or is healthy. Know what you're walking into when you're adopting or rescuing a pet, or when you're bringing a new pet into your home. Now, Michael brings up a good point, and that was something I was going to bring up. And again, this is not, none of these places are sponsoring me. They're doing good things. They're people doing good things, so of course I share. Now, Pet Finder is one of the really nice websites to check out. Reason being, my own dog, Quincy, came from Pet Finder. And he's a great dog. So yes, papers, not papers. It really depends if you're going to show the dog. And again, if that's what you want to do, that's great. That is a whole different thing all itself. I have no problem with it. I just love animals. So rescuing, adopting is fine by me. It's more my speed. It's more my style. Even though I've done both. I've adopted animals. I adopted one of my ferrets was from a family member, and to give him a good home. I adopted one from the animal shelter, and I bought one. So I have consistent experience all across the board and unique experiences with each. Also, yeah, I know he should make an appearance. Unfortunately, I can't get him at the moment because I got to be right here. And we have to edit it out, and yeah, but it'd be great for Quincy. But what we can do though is when we do edit, we can throw in a picture of Quincy. We could do that. So it'll be post live in the edit. We can throw in a picture of Quincy in the show, right about here, right about there, or there, or there, or there. So yeah, and also too, the interesting thing about pets is eventually you will eventually, whether you like it or not, lump it or not, you're going to learn from your animal, and your animal's going to learn from you. It is very much a symbiotic relationship. A lot of people don't realize this though. Now, I've known quite a few people that weren't animal people. Then they happened to get an animal, and all of a sudden things changed. Like I knew one person that they liked animals well enough, but they didn't like animals the way like myself and other people here in the room, in the show, like animals or love animals. So they weren't really big on animals, like having pets. So what ended up happening? They ended up with a couple of dogs, and you don't know how the dogs really changed those people's lives. And it got to the point where they couldn't live without them. And a couple of people actually came back to me and said, you know, I didn't really figure out the whole animal thing, but as soon as I adopted one and I've had one for a while, I now know what you were telling me about how they touch your heart and how they connect with you. Because that's really the thing here. It's regardless whether you're four-legged, two-legged, winged, and if you look at my social media, you see a lot of me actually sharing a lot of interspecial communication. You have like you know, a dog with a bunch of ducklings. You see like one of them happened to be like a turtle with a dog with kittens, I think. It was just insane. And they were all together. And there was also another one with a raccoon, I think a skunk, and they're all baby animals. So again, everyone loves a baby animal, but also too, you have the animals that are older that are perfect. They're still healthy, but they're perfect for a more settled person, an older person. There's also a lot of animals that have become mascots or ambassadors. They become pet therapy. I heard of a couple of people that I'd spoken to going back quite a while ago. They actually had such great animals that they actually turned them into pet therapy ambassadors. So they would take them into nursing homes and hospitals. Little fun fact, little moonsight for you. Did you know that just stroking an animal or a pet will lower your blood pressure? No joke, and it's fact. Just petting an animal, just stroking and petting an animal will lower your blood pressure. It eases your mind, and if you're stressed, and interestingly enough, I can almost guarantee that since animals are naturally more empathic than people, well, I don't want to say more empathic. That may be inaccurate. So I'm going to put myself on notice, but they live more empathically than people do. We can shut that off, but animals don't necessarily shut it off. There are animals that actually, there are dogs, and I've seen stories that they were dogs that are employed to smell cancer. We have horse. There was a horse. There was a post in the story I heard about a horse that was in the military. That the horse was honored because of its duty in the military. Countless canine police officers. Yes, I said police officers. Now, honestly, let's think about that for a minute. And this is really important. For your safety, do you know how many dogs that are employed and used to smell drugs and to smell bombs, to sniff out chemicals, to sniff out any kind of danger that can affect us? These are four-legged people. These are souls that still deserve respect and honor and love. So anybody that goes ahead and says, "Oh, it's just an animal," I'm not going to judge, but I'm going to say, I'm going to agree to disagree. Disagree in caps, in bold, underlined, and italicized. Also, too, same thing, very much like FM noise, and Ariel is bringing it up, a kitty purring. You hear a kitty purring, or a kitten purring, or a cat purring, I'll tell you that in itself lowers blood pressure as well. I remember when I was younger, my childhood dog would, if I was stressed, or if I was troubled, or if I was challenged in any way, shape, or form, my dog would be by my side. And normally my dog would be by my side, but at those moments in time, he would be by my side. As we get older, and we're teenagers, we apparently, obviously, is in the rites of passage, we may or may not get along with our parents. Sometimes it goes into adulthood. Just saying. However, my dog would be scratching at my door. If I closed my door in my bedroom, my dog would be scratching at my door, saying, "Let me in," and he would not leave my side. Now, I still remember him like it was yesterday. So he was an amazing dog, and he was a mixed breed, and he was not purchased from a pet store. He was part collie and he was part German Shepherd, and one of the best dogs I've ever known in my life. And I was remembering. But, sorry. But given the fact that animals touch us in so many powerful ways, some of us, and I say we as understood, some people don't give them enough credit or enough attention to realize how important they are in our lives. These animals will herd for us. They help rein in the cows. They keep all cattle and horses in check. They help hunt. They will go and find that goose or find that duck. They will help falcon. They will guide. In fact, they will. I saw a story about, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. There are touching losses, and this is why I say sorry. But the touching losses of people being separated from their pets, and it's not easy. It's never an easy time, ever. But even in falconry, they go hand in hand. where, you know, they will help. And they're part of the team. They're part of the team. So this is all really, really a big part of our lives. And we don't realize that all they want is a job. Now, a lot of times we don't want a job, right? A lot of times we don't want to deal with it. We don't want that kind of responsibility. But a lot of animals, a lot of times when they're troublesome, it's because they're not doing their purpose. They're not doing what they're doing. And I can also say this about their human counterparts, us ourselves, is that we don't always, if we don't live to our life purpose, there's something missing. There's something just not right. And that in itself can be problematic. So if you're not living your life purpose, then you're kind of like left in limbo, or you're left searching. And sometimes it's ongoing, trial and error. But it's all about continuing and moving and adapting as you should. Now, also too, another thing about puppy mills that you may or may not know. Puppy mills are factory-style breeding facilities. They put out profit above the welfare of dogs. They don't. Now, this is just in the dogs, but there's ferret mills. So the term puppy mill is not just for dogs. So it could be ferrets. It could be any animal that is in demand. It could be chinchillas. It could be, you know, hedgehogs. It could be gerbils. You know, all of it. So it doesn't matter how big or small they are. They all deserve respect. They all deserve love. They all deserve these things. So also too, another aspect of it is animals from puppy mills are housed usually in poor conditions. They don't have proper medical care. And they're also very, very sick, and they're also very behaviorally troubled because, again, they're weaned off too soon. They're not socialized properly. A lot of that happens. Now, let's make this a human problem. Let's make this a human problem for a second. You were pulled from your family. You were thrown into the healthcare or into the adoptive environment. You go from in and out of foster homes. You are treated horribly by people because you are just a paycheck to some. You were looked at like someone that didn't matter because you were a throwaway. How would you feel? How would you feel on a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, whatever? How would you feel not having a home, not having a family, not having people care about you? Wouldn't you be a little angry? Wouldn't you be a little distraught? Wouldn't you be a little traumatized? Not having that structure? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now, you could take human out and put dog in. You could put cat in. You could put ferret in. You could put parrot in. Now, also, let's speak about parrots for a second. Now, anyone that gets a parrot, if they don't research it, they come into a big surprise. If you get a parrot, so say, for example, right here, right now, I go ahead and I get a parrot. Just for S&G, shits and giggles for the less PG folks, just for S&G, I go ahead and get a parrot. Now, I am almost half a century old. This is a little insight for you, a little moon fact. If I got a parrot right now, do you know that I would have to will that parrot to someone else? Because parrots live up to 60 years of age. So they would have to be rehomed. I can honestly say that parrot would probably outlive me at this stage of the game, unless I live to be 100, which, knock on wood, I hope to. I want to outbeat George Burns, but with good health and without the cigar. That'd be fantastic. But imagine that, 60 years. They could live up to 50, 60 years easily. So be aware. You think parrots, macaws, beautiful, beautiful birds. That's great. They deserve love and they deserve homes too. But I'll tell you, be prepared. It's a lifetime endeavor. It's not like having an animal that is has a short lifespan. This is legit. This is real. You know, a parrot will live up to 60 years. And depending on conditions, of course. If it's mistreated, of course, if you're mistreated, you may, you know, if you get sick, of course, things happen. But overall, in a healthy environment, in a loving environment, in a fact where health is an issue and they're being cared and fed and dealt with properly and given the proper everything, the proper situations, they could live up to 60 years old. Interesting. And yes, I have thought about a parrot at one point in time, but I'd want to walk around with it. Like, I'd want to take it around. I had quite a few animals in my life. And an iguana, I also had an iguana. And I used to, when an iguana was smaller, I used to take the iguana around until it got so big that people probably would have not allowed me in the store with an iguana on my head or across my shoulder. So yeah. So Beth is saying, I used to have a little budgie called Banjo and used to sit on my shoulder and play with my earrings. See, it's little, it's like memories and stories like that. And that is such a cute freaking name for a budgie. Now, budgie is like a parakeet. They're in the parakeet family. Now, also too, something that you may not know. Now, as you know, because of my ring, as well as because I've mentioned it before, raven happens to be one of my totems as well as bear. And I'll tell you, ravens are also, they can voice like parrots. Because I was in the topic of parrots for a moment. So also, not only parrots can speak and mimic human voice, but so can ravens, so can crows, so can myna birds, so can parakeets, believe it or not. But it takes a lot of training, and they would have to listen to a lot of repetition. I happen to remember in my childhood, there was one family that had a parrot. And I will tell you this. There was a lot of challenging situations, without getting into it. There was a lot of challenging situations where that parrot heard a lot of stuff you really don't want to listen, or you wouldn't want a child to hear it or grow up with, or a parrot to hear it, right? But this parrot swore like a sailor. It swore like a trucker, let me tell you. So anytime I'd hear this parrot, I'd be like, holy, wow. Not even I swear that much. I have my moments. But I'll tell you, this parrot swore like a trucker. Seriously. He threw some mofos in there, and he threw the F word was like breath to him. So, no joke. So, another little fact for you, a warning, if you will. If you have a parrot and you decide that you want to swear and you want to have mixed company in your house, don't swear in front of your parrot. Eventually, he's got to pick it up. Seriously. So, yeah, that'd be awesome. In fact, that'd be awesome to have. If I had a parrot, you know, or a raven would be even better. But to sit right here and be like, oh, guys, I'll be right back. You know, and the raven would be like, be right back. Moonshadow, be right back. That would be classic. Or even a monkey. At one point in time, I wanted a monkey. When I was in South Africa, I fed wild monkeys. So what we see as feral and wild here, like groundhogs and rabbits and beavers and deer and coyotes and wolves and things, where I was in South Africa, it was monkeys. And I was feeding monkeys my chips. It was a mama monkey and a baby monkey. So it's fantastic. Exactly. And also, too, now, again, I'd say the same. I'd give you the same advice regarding kids. If you don't want a secret to be known, you don't tell your kid, or don't give it, or don't tell them within earshot. Make sure they're not within earshot, because it will not be a surprise. So say, for example, we have a surprise birthday party for, say, Beth, right? And I happen to say that, and I'm talking on the phone, and I forget my child is there listening. Now I'm talking to Beth, right? And Beth's like, "Hello, Moon, how are you?" And all that good stuff. And all of a sudden, out of my kid's mouth, and no, I don't have any children, but out of my kid's mouth is "Happy birthday, Beth! You're gonna love your birthday party." Ruh-roh. She's like, "Really? Whoop whoop." but see, so you gotta be careful. So they can be little recorders as well as parrots. They may pick up what you don't want them to pick up, and they may not pick up what you do want them to pick up. But okay, I digress. I'm glad this show is about animals and pets, because now we can go back to topic. Sometimes I move away from topic, but I'll be back, and I move back in. So about adoption and the responsibility, the care and feeding, the health of having an animal. If you have, now going back, and I will have to say, I have to go back to the story about the couple that had the blind cat. They had the blind cat. So now they were so enamored, and they fell in love with this blind cat, to the point where they actually opened up a foster home for only blind cats. Only. I think they have only one-sighted cat that they had before. That was a house cat already. But now all they bring in and foster is blind cats. Imagine that. So all of these things, I think we take for granted the connections we have with our animals. And since we all have history and we all have an origin, we should be cared for that origin too. All of us have gone through quite a bit. Yes, but we'll still have a party. There's no reason. We don't need an excuse to have a party. Party is a phenomenal thing. Absolutely. So now, looking at that from that perspective, I am not saying don't buy a pet from a pet store. I'm not saying that. What I am urging and challenging you is to go one step ahead and be a hero and take in an animal that needs a home, that needs love, that wants care and affection no different than anyone else. They want a job. They want responsibility. They want to be accountable. Believe it or not, a lot of people believe that animals are stupid. Not me, and probably not 98 or 99 for the sake of the 1% that don't. Probably 99% of the people in this broadcast don't believe animals are stupid. I know that animals are probably smarter than some humans I know. Let's just think of why. Number one, animals they're not usually aggressive naturally. You have to either teach them aggression, or they're either traumatized, so they're nurtured, or their nature gets disgruntled over it, or changed or manipulated, or you're messing in their territory, or you're messing with their children. They love their kids no different than we do. Or they're ill if they're rabid. Now, I can tell you, in the human world, us as humans, We do stupid stuff all the time just because we'll do it. I've known people that will instigate just because. I know people that will to pick a fight just because they enjoy gossip. Now, granted, they're not in my inner circle. I keep them at arm's bay. But the point is, humans do that, but a lot of animals don't. They have a purpose. They're purposeful. They're more. In fact, some animals are probably more mindful than we are. Believe it or not. Now, Pamela's saying here that animals matter just as much as people. I don't know why some people have less respect for our four-legged friends. And I agree. And I'm going to add to that. Four-legged, two-legged, and you know I mention South Africa quite often because I left a piece of my heart there. But I had a moment with a giraffe, and I loved that giraffe. That giraffe was awesome. I was like, the whole world didn't matter. And I'm sitting there, and there were pictures. You know, I have pictures in my social media of me with this giraffe. And so really, it's we forget. And again, something I've mentioned in prior broadcasts, ego or a sense of superiority has affected our communication with our other brethren. So I look at, and yes, as sorry, not sorry, but I talk to animals all the time, and they completely understand. I believe they understand. It's just something that they do. It's a mental telepathy. It's an empathic, emotional connection. It's something. It's some form of communication. Bees communicate. They don't have to say, hey, pollinating, going to this flower, pollinating, we're going to that flower, pollinating that flower, this flower becomes that flower, this flower becomes that. Without bees, we wouldn't have flowers. No joke. Without bees, we probably wouldn't be alive. So heads up. Be aware of that. Bees are a very, very delicate part of nature's delicate balance. They start dying, which you can look it up. If the bee population dies, we are pretty much, between the bees and the trees, believe it or not, I'm not meaning to rhyme, but between the trees going, if we deforest everything and there are no more bees, we're pretty much dead. Welcome to extinction. Now you wouldn't think that something so small would be responsible for our lives. So as much as I'm an omnivore, I have respect for the sacrifice. So this is all part of it. It's all part of the nature of what life is. And I also had mentioned in a previous broadcast that me and my father used to watch. May he rest in peace. I would hope that he'd be proud of what I do. But I remember many a memory, us watching Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. And I learned very early shamanistic that I saw, jaguars and lions taking down gazelles and whatnot. You know what I mean? I saw the natural balance of life, the children being born, animals mating. I probably learned more about sex from watching animals, watching these nature shows that I did, that and personal experience, and then being taught by, school and health class. It's probably more of an education. Life is more of an education a lot of the time, believe it or not. Yeah, I know. A little too much. That was a little TMI. Was that a little TMI? I think so. I think that'll end up being a blooper. Did I say that? Did I say that aloud? Oh, crap. But woohoo, yeah. But but looking at it and not having respect for all living things is really kind of where this starts with even bringing them into our families. So really think about it. Now, I tend to adopt strays all the time, and I'm not talking about just stray animals. I used to, when I was a kid, I used to bring animals home and rehome them. I also used to go out there. I'd get snakes, and I used to get all kinds of animals and bring them home, and I'd kind of look at them, watch them, and I'd let them go. And it was how I lived, and that's how I enjoyed life. I learned so much from just watching nature and being there. And even to this day, I'm quite the people watcher. I can sit in a place and have a coffee somewhere. I haven't done it in a while. I'll probably do. But I used to just sit and just watch life happen like it was television. That's true reality. That's a true reality show. And yes, I adopt and collect stray people too. Yeah. And some of you I adopted as well. But ultimately, it's just, you learn so much from doing that. So now, for anyone to think that you go ahead and adopt a pet, whether it's from a shelter or whether you buy the pet, either one, it's interesting how they mold you and they teach you as much as you teach them. Sometimes it's vice versa. Sometimes they teach you more than you teach them. Now, I happen to know, well, this might as well be said. Understand as well that there has to be some kind of structure and composure. I'm not going to go into detail, and I'm going to not say names to save the innocent, protect the innocent, but everyone has a job, right? So I'm not judging, I'm not criticizing, it's just fact. Everyone has a job. No different than you would want your 3-year-old, which I've seen happen multiple times. You wouldn't want your 3-year-old giving you stock market decisions. I'm sure you wouldn't want your dog or cat to think that it owns you and you don't own it, or it's not a symbiotic. Okay? And I've seen a lot of that. And so I firmly believe that you give them love, you give them caring, but understand I only talk about what's within my scope of knowledge. And if I don't speak about what's in my scope of knowledge, I'll bring other people in that it's their scope of knowledge, right? So talking to your animals, yes. Clothing them, okay. One of a dear friend of mine that lives out west, actually, she had a Cocker Spaniel, and Cocker Spaniel is now passed on. I love that Cocker, and I never met this Cocker Spaniel personally, but she'd always sing to me. Her name was Murphy, this Cocker Spaniel. But out west, the ground gets so hot in the summer that literally the padding on dogs' paws can get burned and they can get hurt. So this particular Cocker Spaniel actually wore little puppy booties to protect from the heat of the concrete. True story. So that I completely endorse and completely agree with, because ultimately it's something where you don't want your horse not to, or your horse, your animal, your pet, your dog, to be uncomfortable or to be treated poorly, right? Also with horses, this is one of the main reasons why horses wear horseshoes, right? So, but even then, I shared something on my social media way back when about how they're making new new type of horseshoes that were all like really like state of the art horseshoes. So this is all part of our world. We forget how important animals are and what would happen if animals weren't there, if it was just us. So it would definitely make a huge difference whether or not you have an animal that lives in your house or not. Unless you highly dislike an animal or children, you're going to be affected. You're going to have an emotional pull to an animal. No different than if you hear, a lot of times, like if a person hears a child crying, they automatically want to find out where that child is. It's part of our makeup. It's part of our DNA. But also the same thing with the whimpering of an animal. There are animals that will go to the aid of an animal. Elephants will actually take care of others' offspring. They share it. So like they have aunties, it's like aunties and uncles. They're like, okay, we've got a predator. Let's go. Let's do something about this, And they will protect the young. They will wrangle the young into the center, and these big badass elephants, these large elephants, will literally go into a circle and round the troops so they can't get taken out. So the weak and the young can't get taken out. So see, this is part of it. Oh, and also too, with those horseshoes, they clip on. They don't get nailed in. So they literally clip right onto them, which is kind of cool. Now, horses don't really feel horseshoes going in and out, from what I've been told, from what I've learned. I've also driven horse and carriage. Loved my horse. He was like a big golden retriever. It was like a big black lab that carried my carriage. That's what he was like. And to this day, I think of him fondly. So a big part of all of this, is the importance of animals in our lives, and how some people just forget. People forget the need and want to help. There are a lot of people that do a lot of different charities, where they do charities for charities that are really important to them, that touch their heart, and I think that's fantastic. But sometimes too, you also need to look at, saving the whales as well, as I did when I was young. In fact, I'd received from, I believe it was President Carter. Yeah, now I'm showing my age. My response to sending a letter to President Carter. I don't even know where the card is anymore. It's probably put away somewhere in my insanity. But he had sent a card, and of course, rubber stamp card. Some presidential aide staffer went and sent a card. But the card did say, we appreciate your vigilance on being caring about saving the whales. So I don't know how it was that specific. It must have been something that important, that they had a pre-made card for that. But it was something that a long time ago I felt the need to kind of speak for the unspoken at an early age. And there are a lot of people like that in the world. And this is part of the reason why it's really good to be the voice and be the light of others, because not everyone can speak for themselves. Not everyone is in a position to say what they want to say. Not everyone is not everyone can fight for themselves. So I need someone stronger, or someone's geared for the challenge to do that. So, and that being it, that we need to speak for the weak. We do. Now, I'm going to summarize the broadcast and summarize the show. It's a huge world out there. we have been blessed with so many different things. We've been blessed with diversity. We've been blessed with people from different walks of life, different faiths, different religions, different places in the world, different cultures. We're also blessed with being able to see almost life in so many different variations, from Madagascar to Egypt, from Egypt to Australia, Australia to Northern America, in North America, South America. We were given the ability and the responsibility to be stewards and caretakers to this planet. And I firmly believe that this is what the Creator and the great All-Father has done for us. That's one of the reasons why we're put here, is to care for the ones that can't care for themselves. Now, this is for all of the souls that can't speak for themselves, that are weaker than us, or can't do for themselves and can't save for themselves, can't give to themselves. Okay? All of it makes a difference. So we need to be the guardians and the sentries for the people, for those souls. And I'm not just talking about people as far as humanity. I'm talking about society needs to be put on notice to realize the things that you do aren't necessarily the right way of doing things. It's not necessarily the right way. If you choose to go that direction, then you just may be part of the problem and not part of the solution. So if we are guided, and if we are the guardians and sentinels of the world, if we are the ones that don't own this planet, don't own this world, but actually are here to take care of it, to take care of conservation, to make sure there are enough trees, to make sure there are enough bees in the world, to make sure that there's no extinct animals, then we need to step up. So I'm bringing this challenge, I'm bringing this challenge to all of you in this broadcast, but anybody else that sees this replay. I'm bringing this challenge to powers that be. I'm bringing this challenge to actual governments. And I'm talking about governments all over. I teach English to Koreans. Part of my job is that. And I'll tell you, they suffer from pollution because of dust happening from deforestation coming from China. Step up, clean the air, make sure we have clean water, care for those that can't speak for themselves, the wounded, the damaged. It's not about leaving them. It's not about leaving them aside. It's not about institutionalizing them. It's not about giving more right or more power to. So this is not, what needs to be said is we're all animals, really. Technically, absolutely we're all animals, whether we're mammals of the humanoid persuasion, or we're two-legged, or we're furred, or we're winged, or we're the creepy crawlies, or we're the finned. All of them deserve respect. All of them deserve care. All of them deserve us to speak up for them. So knowing this topic was about caring about animals and fostering animals, and the difference between adopting a pet or buying a pet, whatever choice you choose, I'm not going to go ahead and tell you what to do. I can only tell you what I would do in your situation, in my situation. Not your situation. Sorry, edit that. I'm only going to do what I would do in the situation. And I would want to give love to something or someone, a soul that needs love. Whether it be an abandoned kid, whether it be an abandoned animal, whether it be a cause, whether it be a charity. You don't have to be a millionaire or part of those 1%ers to do some good. And this is something that I drive home often, almost like it's a broken record. But understand this, everyone. You alone, one person, just you, that's it. You can make a difference. What you post, what you share on social media, what your causes are, who you rally for, all of it. It's our job to kind of try our best to take care of others. If you can't do that, it's okay. Just don't be part of the problem. Reuse and recycle. Don't go and throw things on the side of the road so animals can get caught up in it. It can end up in the ocean and animals die. At least be part of the solution and just stay out of the way. That would be huge in itself, just to do that. Be a little bit more of a caretaker of conservation of nature, because she's taking care of you. It's time for us to take care of her a bit. Mother Nature needs it. So that being said, go out, and if you don't have a pet, you're lonely, get one. You can go with Pet Finder, you can go with legit people. If you're going to go with a breeder, make sure you vet a breeder. Make sure you look at what that breeder is all about. Make sure that those animals are loved and cared for and weaned properly, socialized properly. Make sure that if they're going to be an indoor-outdoor animal, make sure they're spayed and neutered so you're not, again, being part of the problem. All of those things. You have the ability to make change in this world. Just you. One person, one voice, 2 hands, 2 eyes, 1 mouth, 2 ears. We have the ability to make change. No different than a ripple in a pond and watching it become a tsunami of change. So don't listen to people that are going to be part of the problem. Step up and do what you can, whether it be a baby step or a monster leap, and be the light. So that said, I want to thank you all for being here on Insight with Moonshadow, and thank you for sometimes hearing my rants, sometimes, listening to my insanity or chiming in, sharing your stories, sharing your experiences. I value and appreciate all of that. If you feel guided to support in any way, or just even send good juju. That in itself is huge and important. So thank you, even for that. If you want to connect, support my movement, my connection, or my what I'm doing, sharing my posts, any of that, you can find all of that on phoenixrisinghealingarts.com or moonphoenixrising.com. And also my social media here on YouTube. So every week, Monday, usually 4. Lately it's been 4-ish. I'm sorry. But I thank all of you for being here. And as always, be strong, be amazing, be you. Love you guys. Take care. Have a great Monday.